They said once you heal from pain, life becomes easier. But for Tari, healing was a journey, not a destination. 3 years had passed since her wedding. She now lived in a beautiful home with her husband, surrounded by peace and the warmth she had long prayed for. Her business skills had grown. She managed one of her husband's charity foundations, helping single mothers and abandoned children find a new start. Yet sometimes, when she looked in the mirror, she still saw that little girl, the one who used to cry in the dark, wondering why her own mother hated her. Only now, she looked back and whispered, "I made it." One rainy morning, Tari attended a charity event in the city, a drive to support homeless shelters. She walked through the crowd, handing out blankets and food, smiling softly at everyone. And then, she saw him. An older man sitting in the corner, shivering under a worn jacket, his eyes empty and lost. Something about him made her pause. She stepped closer. "Sir, would you like something warm to eat?" she asked gently. The man looked up, and for a moment, their eyes met. Her breath caught. There was something hauntingly familiar in his face, his eyes, his jawline. He looked like her. Tari knelt beside him. "What's your name?" she asked softly. He hesitated. "David," he said, voice weak. Then added, almost as if ashamed, "David Ndlovu." Her world froze. That name. She had heard it once before, whispered by her mother in anger, in pain. Her father. The man who left before she was born. The man whose absence had poisoned her childhood. The man her mother could never forgive. She stared at him, unable to speak. He didn't recognize her, not yet. That night, Tari couldn't sleep. Her husband, Becky, noticed her silence. "Tari, what's wrong?" he asked, gently holding her hand. She whispered, "I saw him today." "Who?" "My father." Becky's eyes widened. "Are you sure?" Tari nodded slowly. "He was alone, homeless. I don't think he even knows who I am." Her voice trembled. "I thought I was done feeling pain from my past, but seeing him like that." Becky placed a hand on her shoulder. "Maybe this is your chance, not for revenge, but for closure." The next day, she went back. David was sitting under the same bridge, staring at the rain. She sat beside him silently, offering a cup of soup. He nodded in thanks. After a long pause, she asked, "Do you have family?" He chuckled bitterly. "I used to. I made mistakes. I was young, foolish. I ran when I should have stayed." "Do you ever think of them?" she whispered. He looked at her, tears filling his tired eyes. "Every day," he said. "I left a woman I loved, and a daughter I never met. I thought I was doing them a favor. But I only cursed them both." Her heart broke. She wanted to scream, "I'm your daughter." But she couldn't. Not yet. Days passed. Tari continued to visit him, bringing food, clean clothes, and hope. He began to open up, telling her stories about the life he once had, and how he lost everything after walking away from Ruth. One evening, as they sat watching the sunset from a park bench, he turned to her and said, "You remind me of her. My daughter would be your age now." Her name was Tari. Her eyes filled with tears. She looked at him and said softly, "She forgave you." He froze. "What?" "She forgave you," she repeated, her voice trembling. "Because she understood that broken people sometimes hurt others without meaning to." He stared at her, confused, then realization dawned slowly. He looked closer, trembling. Who are you?" Tari smiled through tears. "I'm your daughter, Baba." The old man broke down, sobbing like a child. He fell to his knees. "God, no. I don't deserve this. Tari knelt with him, holding him tightly. I don't need you to deserve it, she whispered. I just need you to know, I forgive you. For a long moment, they cried, the father who ran, the daughter who was left behind, now held together by mercy. Tari and her husband helped him find a home, a doctor, and peace. For the first time in years, David felt like a father again. He began working with Becky's foundation, helping other men rebuild their lives. Then one day, Tari invited her mother, Ruth, for dinner. Ruth had no idea who would be there. When she walked in and saw David, her heart stopped. The air went cold. She trembled. You, she whispered. I thought you were dead. David lowered his head. Maybe I was, until I saw her. He looked at Tari with tears in his eyes. She brought me back to life. Ruth's face hardened. You don't get to just walk back into our lives. Tari stood between them. Please, Mama. Not for the past, for healing. Silence filled the room. Then, slowly, Ruth began to cry, years of bitterness melting into tears. I hated you, she said to David. But I hated myself more for still missing you. David took a shaky breath. I was a coward. I let pain speak louder than love. Ruth looked at Tari, tears streaming down her face. And you became the bridge between us. Tari reached out, holding both their hands. 4 years, your pain shaped me, she said softly. But maybe, it all happened so I could help you both find peace. And in that moment, after decades of anger, silence, and regret, the broken family finally began to heal. Months later, they stood together, Ruth, David, and Tari, at a community event. They had opened a new shelter called the Cornerstone Home, named after the scripture. The stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. Tari gave a short speech. Forgiveness isn't weakness. It's the power to rebuild what pain tried to destroy. I learned that love, even when broken, can still be redeemed. The crowd applauded. Her parents stood behind her, hand in hand, not perfect, but restored. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Becky wrapped his arm around Tari and whispered. You didn't just heal a family. You healed a generation. Tari smiled, looking at the sunset. Sometimes, she said, God doesn't erase our scars. He turns them into stories. If this story moved your heart, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Because someone out there needs to know. Forgiveness doesn't change the past. But it heals the future. Yellow Heart. Follow for more stories of hope, healing, and faith.